Which country consumes the most coffee per person? Italy? Colombia? Somewhere else? I'm Mark Ellison, and on 5 daily trivia questions, I deliver fascinating facts and surprising statistics every weekday. Whether you're a history buff, science geek, or pop culture fanatic, there's something for everyone. 5 daily trivia questions, and the biggest coffee drinkers, it's Finland, with the average Finn consuming over 26 pounds of coffee annually. 5 daily trivia questions.
Calaroga Shark Media.
As cardinals from around the world gather in Rome to elect Pope Francis's successor, the Eternal City has transformed into a hub of discreet diplomacy. Behind the scenes, these princes of the Church are meeting informally, assessing which among them possesses the qualities needed to lead the world's 1.4 billion Catholics. The current pre-conclave period follows a structured rhythm. Each morning, cardinals meet in a Vatican auditorium to discuss the needs of the Church and the qualities required in its next leader. This is white smoke, the path to a new pope. These sessions are open to all cardinals, including those over 80 years old, who are ineligible to vote in the conclave itself. Afternoons, apart from official masses during the 9-day mourning period for Pope Francis, remain largely unscheduled, allowing for informal encounters throughout Rome. My experience so far, to be quite honest with you, is there's a lot of attentive listening, Cardinal Vincent Nichols shared. That's listening to the people who might have an idea today of who they think is the best candidate, and I wouldn't be surprised if by Monday they might have changed their mind. According to Nichols, a vision for the next pontificate is gradually emerging among the cardinals. There appears to be appreciation for seeing Francis's papacy as continuous with those of John Paul II and Benedict, while acknowledging the increasingly multicultural reality of today's Church. Francis significantly expanded the College of Cardinals to include representatives from places like Tonga and Mongolia, moving beyond the traditional centres of European Catholicism. While acknowledging divisions within the Church, "We're not a boys' brigade that marches in step," Nichols noted. He senses a consensus that Francis's reforming papacy needs further consolidation. There's a sense that the initiatives that this man of such originality took, they probably do need rooting a bit more to give them that stability and evident continuity, he explained. Nichols claims to have no predetermined candidate. "For me, it's no good going into a conclave thinking it's like a political election, and I want my side to win," he said. "I'm going to go in certainly with my own thoughts, but ready to change them, to listen, and maybe try and persuade others to change theirs too." One of Pope Francis's Popemobiles, which the late pontiff used to greet thousands of people, will be transformed into a mobile health clinic to serve the children of Gaza. Following a request by Pope Francis before his death last month, the vehicle used during his visit to Bethlehem in 2014 is being retrofitted with essential medical supplies, including rapid tests, suture kits, syringes, oxygen, vaccines, and a small refrigerator for medicine storage. Caritas, the charity overseeing this project, plans to deploy the clinic with a team of doctors once Israel reopens humanitarian corridors, allowing them to reach injured and malnourished children who currently lack access to healthcare. It's not just a vehicle, it's a message that the world has not forgotten about the children in Gaza, said Peter Brun, Secretary General of Caritas Sweden. The pontiff had made numerous impassioned remarks about the Gaza conflict during his final months, describing the humanitarian situation as shameful and consistently advocating for peace between Palestinians and Israelis. In keeping with his modest lifestyle, Pope Francis's final resting place features a simple marble tombstone with just 10 Latin letters spelling Franciscus. However, what was intended to be a reflection of the late pontiff's humility has unexpectedly sparked debate in typographic circles due to its unusual letter spacing. The tombstone's lettering in Times Roman, a widely used font in English language publications, has drawn criticism for its poor kerning, which refers to the space between individual characters. Typography experts have noted that the spacing appears mathematically rather than visually determined, with the A in particular standing noticeably apart from neighbouring letters. Paul Shaw, a type and design historian, explained that the poor spacing was predictable because RAN and CVS contain letter combinations, RA and V, that historically have required manual adjustment. He suggested that Pope Francis's name was just cranked out by someone operating a stone-cutting machine, probably via sandblasting from a template prepared on a computer. Each day we'll be taking a look at the betting odds as they shift and change. Here are the money lines heading into Tuesday. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle at plus 150. Cardinal Pietro Parolin at plus 150. Cardinal Peter Turkson at plus 400. Cardinal Robert Sara at plus 700. Cardinal Matteo Zuppi at plus 400. Cardinal Peter Erdo at plus 700. And Cardinal Pierbattista Pizzaballa at plus 700. These numbers tell their own story about expectations, but as any seasoned observer knows, the quiet whispers in St. Peter's Square often carry more weight than the loudest proclamations from odds makers.
Feeling overwhelmed, stressed, like life's moving too fast? Take a breath, take 5 minutes, and take stock of all you have to be grateful for. I'm Olivia, and I invite you to join me for 5 Minutes of Gratitude, the podcast that transforms your outlook in the time it takes to drink your morning coffee. Together, we'll explore the power of thankfulness. From life's big blessings to its smallest joys, we'll discover how gratitude can change everything. 5 Minutes of Gratitude, because a thankful heart is a happy heart. Follow 5 Minutes of Gratitude now wherever you get your podcasts, and let's start our gratitude journey together.
Hi, White Smoke listeners. Just thought you might want to check out our podcast, Question of Faith. We'll be talking about what it was like to attend Pope Francis's funeral and what the next papal conclave might look like. I'm Deacon Mike Hayes. I'm joined by Father Damian Ferentz. We're in the Catholic Diocese of Cleveland. Father Eric Garris was at Pope Francis's funeral. He'll be our guest, and we'll talk about how other prognosticators are sizing up the candidates who could be the next pope. Will he be like Pope Francis, or will he be the exact opposite of him? Someone's going to look pretty stupid when the white smoke appears. You can see us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Filipino Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle laughed when asked in 2015 if he had ever considered that he might one day be Pope. "I make a public confession here. I cannot even manage my life. How can I imagine a worldwide community?" Despite his self-deprecating response, the Filipino Cardinal is among those tipped as a potential successor to Pope Francis. If appointed, he would be the first Asian Pope in modern times. Tagle, who goes by the nickname Chito, has been described as the Asian Francis due to his progressive outlook and humble lifestyle. He has previously criticized the harsh stance towards single mothers and people who are gay or divorced. As Bishop of Imus, a city near Manila, he rode jeepneys, cheap public minivans, and invited the destitute to eat with him. Known as approachable and unpretentious, Tagle is also a fan of singing and dancing. Videos of him on TikTok have been shared widely, winning him the approval of many in the Philippines, where karaoke is practically a national sport, and beyond. When he speaks and gives lectures, he's not the usual formal priest. He sings. He's a Filipino. He is a karaoke priest, said Michael Xiaochua, a historian at De La Salle University. Tagle has an off-the-cuff style and is like a rock star after Mass, he added, saying he had seen volunteers circle around Tagle to manage queues of people wanting to greet him. Tagle, 67, was born in Imus, near the capital region Metro Manila, to Catholic parents who worked in a bank. "He's from a very simple family, not poor but not rich," said Mary John Mananzan, a missionary Benedictine sister who has known Tagle for decades. Tagle reportedly wanted to become a doctor, but entered the church after a priest tricked him into applying to a seminary in Quezon City. He obtained a doctorate at the Catholic University of America and became Bishop of Imus and later Archbishop of Manila. He was made a cardinal by Pope Benedict XVI in 2012. But his rise to the top echelons of the Catholic Church has not been without controversy. Tagle served as president of Caritas Internationalis from 2015 until 2022, when the leadership team was removed due to concerns over mismanagement. At the time, Tagle, who was not involved in day-to-day operations, said the decision did not relate to allegations of sexual abuse or mismanagement of money. This March a Survivors Group, the survivors network of those abused by priests, called for an investigation into Tagle and 5 other cardinals in relation to the handling of alleged child abuses cases by Caritas Internationalis in New Zealand and the Central African Republic. Tagle has not commented on these calls. Campaigners have said Tagle has not worked hard enough to tackle sexual abuse in the church. Anne Barrett Doyle, co-director of bishopaccountability.org, said last week the church in the Philippines was in the dark ages on the issue, and that guidelines on dealing with allegations have not been published on the website of the Manila Archdiocese or the Bishops' Conference of the Philippines. Questioning his suitability, she said, "If Cardinal Tagle cannot even get his brother bishops from his home country to publish guidelines, what on earth can we expect for him to achieve as Pope of a global church?" However, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines defended Tagle, stating that during his tenure as Bishop of Imus and Archbishop of Manila, he had actively participated in the development and implementation of guidelines on handling sexual abuse cases, but that he no longer holds direct authority over any diocese in the Philippines. Tagle, it said, has consistently advocated for a humble and responsive church that listens to the cries of the wounded and acts decisively to protect the vulnerable. In the Philippines, Tagle has also been accused of being slow to condemn former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte's so-called war on drugs. As many as 30,000 people were killed in the crackdowns, which began after Duterte took office in June 2016. Many victims were young men who were shot dead in the streets. In 2017, Tagle wrote a pastoral letter criticizing the killings, saying, "We cannot govern the nation by killing. We cannot foster a humane and decent Filipino culture by killing." However, some say he should have spoken out more clearly earlier. Duterte's war on drugs marked a difficult chapter for the Catholic Church in the Philippines. Some priests risked retaliation by criticizing the killings, and despite international outrage over the killings, Duterte remained highly popular among the Catholic majority population. Mananzan said Tagle was not the condemning type. He had very strong statements about the extrajudicial killings, but he never talked about Duterte as a person. Tagle opposed the passing of the Reproductive Health Bill in the Philippines, which offered free contraceptives and information on family planning. He also opposes abortion rights. Were Tagle to be appointed Pope, it would be met by huge celebrations in the Philippines, where 80% of the population is Catholic. Despite a 500-year history with the Catholic Church, the Philippines has always felt that it exists on the outskirts, said historian Xiao Chua. Pope Francis was the first non-European pope in centuries, he said, of a trend that should continue. We need another pope from the peripheries. White Smoke is a production of Calaroga Shark Media.